Right now, somewhere at the bottom of the planet, a scientist is staring at a computer screen trying to fix a machine buried 2.5 kilometers beneath solid ice. A machine they will never touch again. They can't dig it up. They can't send someone down. If it breaks, it stays broken. And this is just a normal Tuesday. When most people picture scientists at the South Pole, they imagine researchers in thick coats collecting snow samples, maybe frowning at a thermometer, muttering something about climate change. That's the postcard version. The reality is stranger, more human, and honestly more unsettling than anything you've been told. Because life at the South Pole isn't really about the cold. The cold is the easy part. What actually fills their days is something no university degree ever prepared them for. Start with the machine I mentioned. It's called IceCube, and it might be the weirdest telescope ever built, because it doesn't point at the sky. It points times down into the ice. IceCube is a full cubic kilometer of Antarctic ice packed with more than 5,000 light sensors, frozen up to 2.5 kilometers below the station. Its job is to hunt ghost particles called neutrinos. These particles stream through the entire Earth like it isn't even there. Trillions are passing through your body as you read this sentence. But every once in a while, one slams into an atom inside the ice and produces a single flash of blue light. One photon. That's it. And these sensors are down there waiting, in total darkness, for that tiny spark. So, what does a scientist actually do all day with a machine like this? They babysit it. They run diagnostics on thousands of detectors, hunting for the smallest glitch that could quietly corrupt years of data. And when something goes wrong deep in the ice, they can't fix it physically. It's entombed forever. Think about that for a moment. It's like being IT support for a frozen, kilometer-wide instrument that no human can ever reach again. Every problem has to be solved through software, remote guessing, and creative workarounds. Their office is a machine they can never visit. The telescope is only one part of it, because the South Pole isn't just cold. It's one of the most precisely measured places on Earth, a global reference point, and a surprising portion of a scientist's day is spent making sure reality still agrees with the equations. They run calibration after calibration on instruments, measuring atmospheric composition, ozone, and the faint afterglow of the Big Bang itself. A tiny drift in an instrument can look exactly like a change in the Earth or the universe. So they spend real hours making sure the machine is lying, not the cosmos. And then there's the strangest part. Every single year, they physically remeasure where the South Pole even is. Because the ice sheet they live on is times moving, the entire station is slowly drifting across the planet. The geographic South Pole marker has to be moved and replanted every year to keep up. Part of their job is chasing a spot on a map that quietly refuses to stay still. Now here's where the human side kicks in. There is no hospital, there is no repair shop. During the winter, there is no evacuation. If something goes wrong, the nearest help might be months away. So these scientists cross-train for jobs they never signed up for. An astrophysicist might spend the afternoon checking oxygen supplies or maintaining the sick bay. They drill medical emergencies with limited equipment and no backup. They train in firefighting because a single fire in a remote Antarctic building isn't an inconvenience. It's existential. They learn to run generators, fix plumbing, maintain ventilation. Keeping the station alive is literally part of the scientific job description. A day in the life isn't just data collection. It's simulated disasters, hands-on drills, and constant infrastructure maintenance. Because down there, failure isn't a bad day. It's everyone going home early or not going home at all. You can't drill for emergencies all winter and stay a functioning human being. And this is the part that surprised me most. A significant portion of South Pole life is behavioral. It's about keeping people stable enough to keep the science running. The way they do that is genuinely strange. They run movie nights, and watching Time's The Thing, the horror classic set in Antarctica, is essentially a rite of passage. They throw themed parties. They host film festivals in the most isolated place on Earth. And then there's the naked run. When the temperature drops to around minus 50 degrees Celsius, people strip down and sprint around the perimeter of the station. From the outside, it sounds reckless. From the inside, it's a controlled, shared, deliberately absurd morale ritual that everyone understands. They even hold ice stock, an outdoor New Year's Eve concert in Antarctic conditions. In a way, all of this is an experiment in itself. A real-time study in how ritual, humor, and shared absurdity can hold a tiny community together at the end of the world. Here's a detail that stuck with me. Ask scientists what they miss most after months at the pole, and the answer isn't warmth. It isn't sunlight. It's salad. Fresh salad, lettuce, vegetables they barely thought about back home. Because everything on station is frozen, canned, or dried, and the simple texture of a fresh living plant vanishes completely from their world. They describe a kind of sensory deprivation for Time's living things. No trees, no gardens, often no animals, just snow, steel, and lab equipment. Their bodies quietly begin craving the biological complexity they used to take for granted. It's a strange, personal data point in the science of long-term isolation. They even change how they talk. Antarctic stations develop their own micro-dialect, a compressed vocabulary that functions almost like verbal software. A perfect, clear blue sky is a dingle day. A coffee break is a smoko. Sleep is a gonk. Movie night at the base cinema is fox hat. It sounds trivial. It isn't. These phrases transmit conditions and needs instantly, without explanation. It's a dingle day tells you everything about the weather in 3 words. It's an informal human factor system that quietly improves coordination and lifts morale. An entire operating language built out of in-jokes and shorthand. Here's the last piece, the one that reframes everything else. Many of these scientists know something about their daily routine. It isn't just science. It's a rehearsal. Without ever calling it space training, they're generating exactly the data future Mars missions will need. How long can equipment run without resupply? How do small crews handle conflict, boredom, and life or death decisions when the outside world is days away at best? How do you go outside, communicate through delays, and ration resources in a place actively trying to kill you? Every naked run, every remote repair, every craving for salad, every emergency drill is quietly feeding into the blueprint for how humans might one day live somewhere far colder and far more remote than Antarctica. So what do scientists at the South Pole do all day? They babysit a telescope no one can touch. They chase a point on a map that keeps moving. They practice for emergencies so they can keep working through them. They build rituals to stay sane and a shared language to stay coordinated. And without quite saying it out loud, they're testing what it means to be human at the absolute edge of the possible. The next time you flip on a light, walk past a tree, or reach for a handful of fresh greens without a second thought, remember there are people at the bottom of the world who would find that miraculous. They're not just studying the ends of the earth. They're finding out how far we can actually go.